I've been a 911 operator for over 5 years now. People call for all sorts of reasons. Some have had accidents, others are in danger, and some are just scared. But one night, one call changed everything. I thought I knew about my job. It became a night I will never forget. It was a typical evening just past midnight when the call came in. I picked up the phone and started my usual routine. 911, what's your emergency? At first, there was only silence. I was about to hang up, thinking it was a mistaken call, when I heard a faint whisper. He's here. I tensed up. The voice belonged to a woman, and there was a raw, unmistakable panic in her tone. "Ma'am, who is there? Where are you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "In my house. I'm alone, and he's already in the bedroom." "Stay on the line, ma'am. I'm dispatching officers to your location. What is your address?" There was no response. All I could hear were the faint sounds of cautious footsteps, then a rustling sound, as if someone was moving through the room. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" I tried again, but only silence followed. My fingers tapped nervously on the keyboard as I tried to trace the call. But the system was failing. No signal, no information. Time was slipping away, and I couldn't lose this connection. "Please tell me your address," I repeated, hoping for an answer. I don't know where I am," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I woke up here and the door was locked. I heard someone come in. I can't find a way out." My heart pounded. This was like something out of a horror movie. But this was real, wasn't it? How could I help if she didn't know where she was? "Ma'am, do you see anything familiar around you? Windows, furniture?" I asked, trying to give her something to hold on to. "No." Her voice was growing more desperate. "There's just darkness. And him." Then I heard something else, a creaking sound. It wasn't just any creak, it was deep and slow, like a door being opened in a house that hadn't been touched in years. "He's coming. Please don't let him find me." "Stay with me, ma'am," I said, my own voice shaking now. "Can you hide somewhere?" I heard her move slowly, carefully, holding her breath. Long, agonizing seconds passed before she whispered again. "I'm under the bed, but I can hear him. He's too close. I can't breathe." My heart skipped a beat. This was beyond anything I'd ever dealt with. This wasn't a normal call, but I had no choice. I had to keep going. "I'm staying with you, ma'am," I said, trying to sound calm even though my hands were cold. "Everything's going to be okay. You're not alone." Silence. Then the sound of footsteps grew louder, closer. And then she screamed, a scream that made me jump out of my seat, a scream filled with pure terror and pain. I felt my blood run cold. Her scream was cut off as suddenly as it started. All that was left was silence. "Ma'am, ma'am, can you hear me?" My voice broke as I called out, my hands trembling. But there was no answer. The system finally managed to trace the call. The address popped up on my screen, just 2 blocks away from my center. Without thinking, I abandoned my post and ran out of the building. I couldn't just sit there and wait. I had to be there. When I reached the house, I froze. It looked abandoned, old, like no one had lived there for years. The door was slightly ajar. Slowly, I stepped inside and was immediately hit by a cold that cut to the bone. "Ma'am," my voice echoed through the empty house. But there was no reply. I moved through a few rooms until I found the bedroom. The bed was in the corner, and there was nothing but silence underneath it. I crouched down to look under the bed, but all I saw was darkness. I walked back to the main room, about to call for backup, when I noticed a phone on the old wooden table. It was surrounded by dust, untouched for years. I stepped closer, picked it up, and looked at the screen. The time displayed was 12:05, the exact time I had received the call. I felt something cold touch my hand and then a whisper. "You know he's here." I froze. The whisper was right behind me. I spun around, but there was no one there. The house was still empty, but the feeling of being watched didn't leave me. And then it hit me. This house, this call, it wasn't a coincidence. I rushed to the door to leave, but it slammed shut right before me. Suddenly, I was engulfed in an icy chill that made me shiver uncontrollably. "He's here," the voice whispered directly into my ear, and before I could do anything, the lights went out. All around me was darkness. The next morning, another 911 operator noticed that I hadn't returned to my shift. They found my car parked outside the old house, a house rumored to be cursed. Inside, they found only one thing that belonged to me: my badge. Whatever happened to me remains a mystery. But now I understand one thing. Sometimes calls to 911 aren't just cries for help. Sometimes they are warnings, warnings that there are places you shouldn't go. And if you answer the call, you might be the one who needs saving.
The night shift was winding down when the call came in. I picked up the phone, expecting a routine report, but instead, I heard a barely audible whisper. "Please, help me." My instincts kicked in immediately. 911, what is your emergency? I asked, keeping my voice steady and calm. They're holding me hostage, in my own home. The whisper grew slightly louder, but it was laced with panic. What's your name? Where are you? I pressed, trying to gather the essentials. David, I'm at home. They're in the next room. I can't talk loud. His voice trembled, barely holding back fear. David, stay on the line. I'm sending the police to your location. Where exactly are you? 340 Maple Street, Springfield ... His voice was so quiet I had to strain to hear. They're armed. One has a knife, the other a gun. I relayed the information to the responding officers, emphasizing the seriousness of the situation. We had to tread carefully. If we moved too quickly, the intruders might panic and harm David. This required precision. David, are you alone in the house? I asked, trying to assess if anyone else was in danger. Yes, I just got home from work. They were already inside. They want money, but I don't have anything. His voice wavered, each word a struggle. The police are on their way. David, if you can, try to barricade yourself or hide. Are you somewhere safe? I'm in the bedroom. Door's locked, but I can hear them. They're searching for me. I don't know how much time I have. Just then, I heard muffled footsteps on the other end of the line. David's heartbeat seemed to echo through the phone, pounding in my ears. His breathing quickened. They're getting closer. They know I'm in here. David, listen to me. Stay as quiet as you can. The police are close. Just hold on. They started banging on the door, he whispered, his voice trembling. They know I'm in here. The noise in the background grew louder. The banging intensified, becoming more violent. I kept talking, trying to keep him calm, knowing every second counted. David, hang in there. The police are almost at your door. Just hold on. Suddenly, there was a loud crash, the sound of the door being forced open. My heart clenched as I heard David scream, a sound of pure terror. They broke the door. They're in. No, please. I struggled to maintain my composure. David, the police are right outside. They're coming in. Hide. But then, there was silence. Complete, oppressive silence. I had no idea what had just happened, and fear washed over me. David? David, are you there? Answer me. I held the phone, listening to the dead air, until I finally heard the sound of the police radios as officers entered the house. Their voices crackled through the silence. We've got him. He's alive, but he's badly injured. We need an ambulance now. My heart sank, but I was relieved that David was alive. Later, I learned that the intruders had attacked him just as the police arrived, but they hadn't had time to finish what they started, thanks to the quick response. That night left a deep mark on me. It's moments like these that remind you how fragile life is and how quickly it can be shattered. David survived, but I'll never forget the terror I heard in his voice. As for the intruders, they were arrested, but the nightmare they left behind in that house will linger for a long time.
One evening, Emma, a 911 operator, found herself sifting through old case files, a habit she'd picked up over time. She liked reviewing calls, learning from them, but one case stood out. It was the story of Amber, a name whispered around the dispatch center, carrying an eerie weight. Even the most seasoned operators shuddered when they talked about it. Amber, 24 years old, made a 911 call one fateful night. It was Karen, Emma's predecessor, who had answered the call. On her last day before retirement, Karen had told Emma the unsettling details of what happened. 911, what's your emergency? At first, there was only silence. Then, after a few tense moments, shallow, panicked breathing could be heard. Hello, is anyone there? Karen's voice was steady, trained. Finally, a voice, soft and trembling, came through. I think someone's in my house. I don't know what to do. Karen's experience kicked in. Okay, stay calm. What's your name? Amber. My name is Amber. All right, Amber. Are you alone in the house? A brief pause. Yes, I live alone. Can you tell me what's happening right now? Amber's voice was shaky as she explained. I came home late from work. I was in the shower and thought I heard something downstairs. I checked and the door was locked, so I thought I imagined it. But now I'm in my bedroom and I can hear footsteps. Slow ones, getting closer. The fear in Amber's voice was palpable. Karen remained calm. Is your bedroom door locked? Yes, but I don't know if that's enough. What if they get in? You're doing great. Stay calm. Help is on the way. Can you tell me where you are in the house? I'm hiding in the closet. It's dark. I can't see anything. I don't know if they can hear me. Karen reassured her. You're doing the right thing. Stay with me and don't hang up. We're tracking your location and officers are almost there. A few seconds passed in silence, except for Amber's shaky breathing. Then, almost inaudibly, Amber whispered, I think they're outside my door. I can hear them. They're so close. Karen felt a knot forming in her stomach. Stay quiet, Amber. They're coming. The police are almost at your house. Suddenly, Karen heard a soft creak in the background, a sound that made her heart drop. They're inside. They're in my room. Amber's whisper was almost inaudible now, thick with fear. Karen kept her voice calm, though her pulse quickened. Don't move. Stay as quiet as you can. They're at your door. Another creak, followed by a faint knock. They're at the closet door, Amber whispered. Karen's own fear was mounting. Amber, don't move. The police are right outside. Then came the loud crash. The closet door had been thrown open. Amber screamed. The line went dead. When officers arrived just minutes later, they found the house locked from the inside. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, and no struggle. Amber was gone. Her car was still parked outside, her phone left behind in the closet where she'd been hiding. Weeks passed with no trace of Amber. Searches were conducted, leads were followed, but Amber had simply vanished. The strangest part, though, came weeks later. Karen, the operator who had taken Amber's call, received a voicemail. It was left on her personal phone in the middle of the night. When she played it back, her blood ran cold. Hello, is anyone there? It was Amber's voice, the same trembling tone, the same fear. I think someone's in my house.